My goodness. Musically, I've taken a real left turn, and I have been writing an oratoria, which is like an opera, with an old collaborator of mine named Aaron Zigman, who's a film composer and an old songwriting collaborator of mine. And we are opening in Shanghai, China in November. But I don't do any more commercial work, unfortunately. That is a very cliquish business. And, it was wonderful for about 15 years, and then it kind of went away. The Beatles. The Beatles came out, and it changed me. I knew I wanted to be in music as soon as I heard the Beatles. I take it you're very young. Yeah, so you weren't alive when the Beatles came out in 1962, but I was, and they were a very dramatic and instrumental effect on my life. Favorite work of mine? You'd have to unearth a bunch of songs that I wrote with some Brazilian composers, which I'm guessing you would not be familiar with because they're somewhat obscure, but you would do yourself a favor by learning about them. I'll give you their names. Ivan Lins, I-V-A-N, last name L-I-N-S, and another named Javan, D-J, that's David John, A-V-A-N, Milton Nascimento. I worked with, I used to be a producer for Quincy Jones, and he hooked me up with these Brazilian composers, and they were fabulous. Quincy is probably one of the most talented record producers in history. It started as a local Southern California McDonald's campaign. And a friend of mine, and you really must know and spell this name correctly, Mark Villa. Do you know that name? V-I-E-H-A. Oh, you absolutely got to memorize this name because he's responsible for my being the singer on that spot. He used to run a local ad agency in Santa Monica, California. And we were, he had a group of like 10 musicians and singers that he employed regularly. He was constantly writing and vying for the creative role in upcoming campaigns, right? McDonald's would say, we want a, 2 all-beef patty commercial, and he wrote 2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun song. So this is a guy who was very talented and very hooked into the commercial world. And I was fortunate enough to be in that group of singers and musicians. We worked on tons of different ads for lots and lots of different clients. And then one day he said he got a call from an agency in Southern California saying they wanted to revamp Mac the Knife with a new lyric around this new character. And they were, so he and I were friends, are friends, and he said, didn't you used to sing with a jazz band? And I went, yeah. And it was like one of my first gigs when I was a teenager. He said, can you sing Mac the Knife? I went, oh, absolutely. I used to sing it all the time. He said, okay, well, come and sing the demo for this new McDonald's ad. When the clock strikes 6:30, babe, You know, it was like, oh, man, that's perfect. That's great. Give it a, you know, be a hipster kind of, you know. So we jazzed it up a little bit and sent it off. They loved it. It ran in Southern California for, you know, a few months. And then the national agency went, this is a great spot. We got to go national with this. And, you know, we went back in the studio and recorded all different kinds of versions of that you know, because you've collated all this material. And for 2 years, kept us super busy. I mean, there was a point at which I was flying to Chicago every other week to record a couple of spots. They took over the production. A Chicago music house took over the production. And, you know, I would go to Chicago and record spots there for a while. And you know about the demise of it as well, right? The Bobby Darin estate. You can write a parody of any song that's already been released. When a song is brand new, that you need the songwriter's permission. The first recording requires permission from the writer. The second does not. But that wasn't the problem. The problem wasn't the song. The problem was that Bobby Darin's estate claimed that my vocal infringed on his likeness. That I was trying to sound like Bobby Darin singing Mac the Knife, which is bullshit. You know, if anybody, I was impersonating Louis Armstrong. You know, but that interference and that fear of litigation was enough to clear the deal and put an end to Mac tonight. Very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Yes. Yeah, I have a picture of my then 3-year-old son sitting in Mac tonight's lap. You know, the Moonhead. What's the guy who was the actor who went inside the costume? Doug Jones. Yeah, I've talked to him a couple of times on Facebook. Very nice guy. You know, yes, I went on the set a couple of times, but most of the time not. Most of the time I just supplied the vocals. Of course. I have absolutely no reason not to. It's fun, it's lucrative, and that's enough. You know, I would say, you know, the main, the 60-second spot that's got all the verses, and, you know, I didn't really think of them as all that different, frankly. To me, you read the script and you read the lyric sheet and delivered the vocal, and that was it. They were more the same than different.